Before modern highways, ancient Americans built vast trade networks. These routes connected tribes across the Great Lakes, the Rocky Mountains, and into Central and South America. This wasn't a world of isolation. It was a continent humming with life, with trade, with the exchange of goods, ideas, and culture. For millennia before European arrival, indigenous peoples built and maintained one of the most sophisticated trade networks the world has ever known. This is the story of those ancient highways, the arteries that pulsed with the lifeblood of a continent. Our story begins not with asphalt and steel, but with water and earth. The great rivers of North America, the Mississippi, the Missouri, the Ohio, the St. Lawrence, were the first superhighways. From the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico, these waterways were corridors of commerce. Dugout canoes, crafted with incredible skill from single massive trees, navigated these currents, carrying precious cargo and connecting distant peoples. Think of the sheer scale of this. A canoe party could travel from the northern forests, rich with copper, all the way down to the warm coastal waters, where communities harvested intricate shells from the sea. And what were they trading? It wasn't just about survival. It was about art, status, and spirituality. Deep in the Rocky Mountains, at sites we now call Obsidian Cliff in Yellowstone, ancient peoples quarried a special kind of volcanic glass. This obsidian was prized for its ability to be shaped into razor-sharp tools blades, spear points, and knives of unparalleled quality. Archaeologists have found obsidian from this single source hundreds of miles away, in the hands of communities living in the Ohio Valley. This wasn't an accident. It was the result of deliberate, long-distance trade passed from hand to hand, village to village, across generations. Each piece tells a story of a journey, of a connection between the mountains and the plains. Let's travel north to the shores of Lake Superior. Here, embedded in the ancient rock, are the purest deposits of native copper in the world. For thousands of years, indigenous miners extracted this metal. They didn't smelt it with high heat like later cultures. Instead, they used a painstaking process of hammering and heating, a technique called annealing, to shape the raw copper into incredible artifacts. We found intricate fishhooks, sharp awls for leatherworking, beautiful jewelry, and ceremonial objects, all crafted from this Lake Superior copper. And where do we find them? Not just in the Great Lakes region, but scattered across the continent. Copper artifacts have been unearthed in burial mounds in the southeast, in village sites along the Atlantic coast, and deep into the Great Plains. It was a luxury good, a symbol of power and connection, its reddish gleam a testament to this sprawling network. Now, let's head south, to the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Here, the ocean provided another treasure, shells. Not just any shells, but specific types like the lightning whelk, a large, spiral-shaped shell. These weren't just picked up on the beach. They were harvested, carefully cut, and carved into intricate, gorgeous ornamental pendants worn on the chest. These often depicted complex mythological scenes, figures of birds and supernatural beings. Whelk shell gorgets, originating from the Gulf Coast, have been found as far north as the Great Lakes and as far west as Oklahoma. Imagine a leader in a village in what is now Wisconsin, wearing a polished shell pendant that began its journey over 1,000 miles away in the Gulf of Mexico. It was a tangible link to a distant world, a piece of the sacred ocean worn far inland. But not all trade routes followed the water. An equally complex network of footpaths crisscrossed the land. These trails weren't random wanderings. They followed the natural contours of the landscape along ridges, through mountain passes, and across river fords. Generations of travelers wore these paths into the earth. They were conduits for goods, but also for information, for stories, for alliances. Places like the Cumberland Gap, a natural passage through the Appalachian Mountains, were vital choke points in this continental system, funneling traffic between the coastal plains and the interior heartland. These paths connected major centers of population, like the incredible city of Cahokia. Near modern-day St. Louis, Cahokia was the largest city in North America north of Mexico. At its peak around the year 1100, It was a bustling metropolis, larger than London was at the time. It was a hub of politics, religion, and most importantly, trade. Archaeologists excavating Cahokia have found a staggering variety of non-local goods. Mica, a glittery mineral from the southern Appalachians used for elaborate ornaments. Flint from distant quarries, chert for making tools, and of course, copper from the Great Lakes and shells from the Gulf Coast. Cahokia was the nexus, the central marketplace where goods from every corner of the eastern continent converged. Its very existence and prosperity were built upon its strategic position within this vast trade network. The goods themselves are fascinating, but it's the human element that is truly mind-boggling. This trade wasn't conducted by a single merchant making a cross-country trip. It was a relay system. A group from one village might travel 100 miles to a known trading partner. There, they would exchange their local goods, say, dried bison meat and hides for items from further away, like obsidian blade cores. Those blade cores would then be worked into finished tools, some of which might be traded again, further down the line. Each exchange strengthened social bonds. Trade wasn't just economic. It was a form of diplomacy, a way to build alliances, arrange marriages, and share knowledge. It was the social glue that held this vast interconnected world together. Think about the knowledge required. Navigators had to read the stars, the currents of the rivers, and the subtle signs of the landscape. They had to speak multiple languages or use sophisticated sign languages to communicate with different peoples. They had to have a deep understanding of reciprocity and the social customs of their trading partners. This was a system built on trust, relationships, and a shared understanding that spanned immense cultural and geographic divides. It was a human achievement of the highest order, developed and sustained over countless generations. When we look at a simple stone tool or a fragment of shell in a museum case, it's easy to see it as just an object, but it's so much more. It's the final destination of an epic journey. It's a physical embodiment of a connection between the mountains and the sea, the forests and the plains. It speaks of canoes gliding down ancient rivers, of footsteps on dusty trails, of hands exchanging goods under a shared sky. It tells a story of a North America that was not an empty wilderness, but a vibrant and deeply connected continent, woven together by a network of ancient highways and the remarkable people who traveled them. This hidden history, buried just beneath our feet, reminds us of the enduring power of human connection, ingenuity, and the timeless desire to reach out and explore what lies beyond the horizon. Thank you for watching. If you found this journey into the past as fascinating as I do, please like this video and subscribe for more stories from our shared human history.